Well, welcome to a new program on Spokane Talks. It's called America. And I'm here with the host of the new program. And you know I'm going to pause because I call you Mike Gav, but it's Mike Gavarici.
Yes.
Am I close?
Perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. Keep that on tape because I won't be able to do it again. I'm happy to say that we've had conversations before, Mike, and your life experience is so fascinating, and I appreciate you as a friend, but also as an educator because you've educated me in a lot of ways. Let's do a little bit. We'll talk later in this segment about the new program you're going to host, but I want folks to know who you are. And if I remember right, at about age 18 or 19, you decided to leave Iran. You lived with your parents there and family, and you took a hike, if you will, to over the mountains to Turkey.
Yes.
Why did you do that?
Well, thank you for having me and for this opportunity, Kent.
Absolutely.
And as you said, we discussed this, a few years back, and now is, I think, this is a really critical time. We, as refugees, immigrants, we can come and express, our experience and share with, our community here, and hopefully it will go beyond this community here. The reason I left Iran, it was, well, first of all, it was right after revolution. So main reason was lack of freedom. And this is what I like to emphasize, on this program and this episode, as we go forward, is having, freedom is it is priceless. There is no price you can put, on freedom.
Something that we honestly might take for granted. I was born and raised in this country. You came to this country and became a citizen. It really dawned on me a few weeks back when you said something about how you were hurting a bit of our country, my country, and what's going on. And I was thinking, well, yeah, you're from Iran. And then I remembered, no, you're talking as an American now.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Better than I can.
Well, it is, it is living here for 35 years now.
Okay.
And I'm more, I feel responsible for what is happening here, and how can I, do my share,
right,
and make a difference. And again, share my experience from a young age, from Iran and all the way to here, and just to remind you of, what a country we have here.
Yes.
And to we don't take it for granted.
Right.
What we have, the values we have here, and mainly the freedom we have, the freedom that we all enjoy, and allows me, yourself, we can sit down, exchange, ideas, discuss, ideas in a very, civilized, manner.
Right.
And we might, disagree on some.
But you're not going to be hauled off to jail.
No, exactly. And, in some nations, including where I come from, still today, if you say the wrong thing, you can end up going to jail.
Wow.
And that's the difference between United States of America versus, countries like China and Russia.
Right.
And Iran.
Right.
And many other countries that, we know of. And there are adversaries. So how can we go forward and preserve, the values that we have, and resolve, our differences in a civilized, manner? Because if we don't realize what we have and we want, to take this down, we don't know what the outcome is.
Yes.
So the outcome, it can be something worse than what we have.
Right. But you've seen that.
Yeah, I have.
In a country. And one of the things that really impressed me one day is when you talked about, I mentioned something that was going on now with, look at the riots back in May and June and some things like that. And we seem so unsettled, probably is a polite word of saying what's going on. And you reminded me that our country, yours and mine, the United States of America, is only 250 some years old. And Kent, I think you said something like, Kent, I come from a country that's 2,500 years old, and they still don't have their act together.
Yeah.
We lose that perspective, don't we?
Yeah. Well, it is, if I go back to, our history
Yes.
here and compare it to where I come from,
Right.
The Persian history, let's say, the Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians, even Chinese, America is a young nation.
Yes.
And
yes.
As a young nation, we have some history. We are building, history.
Right,
and
right.
people, they criticize, our past, the founders,
Right.
and what. And that's what, is called, history.
Yes.
We're learning from our past.
Yeah.
And America is telling us collectively that, I'm young. I'm a young nation. I'm a young tree.
Yes.
Give me a chance. Let's look back and see how far we have come.
Yeah.
What we have achieved through civil war, through civil rights movement,
Right.
and many other movements, has put us in this position today where we can, just, look back and be proud of how much, we have progressed, how much, we have evolved,
Right.
and how much, we can go to the future.
And that's what I love about your doing this, because you can bring that outside perspective, that world view of what others are seeing. We hear about it once in a while when the news covers other states around the world and so forth. The program is going to be called A.M.E.R.I.C.A. Why did you pick that as a title for the program? What does that stand for?
Oh, well, is as this past few years, I kind of, went over, the history of America.
Yeah.
And who the founders were, what was, what was their vision, and they established, this concept called, Constitution, and which is, is a vision for human freedom.
Yes.
And so, I think, I can compare, Constitution to a soil. And the founders, they planted this young tree called America. With all the, wars, they had, the revolution, and they established, the Constitution itself. And then, they had this, young tree, which is, is now growing, and it has reached, 200, less than 250 years now. It's young.
Yes.
It is
Yes.
very young, comparing to.
And we
again,
forget that
Yeah,
sometimes,
it-
don't we?
it
We
is-
really do.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
today we might, call ourselves, I'm African American, I am, Iranian American, I am this American. But I promise you, in 100 years from now, we all call ourselves, we are Americans.
Yes.
Because, we are integrating, more and more and more, and we are, evolving. We are seeing, progress, in the change, the differences we have.
Right.
And we are coming up, with solutions. We are passing, legislations and what. And so I saw, America as just this young tree, and it is going through time. is building character.
Right.
Like, we are.
Planting roots.
Yeah, exactly.
All of that.
Planting roots, stretching, branches, and, and that to me, it was a vision of, the founders and the framers. And has it been perfect? No,
Yeah.
nothing is perfect.
Right.
So as we are going through time, we're building history for this nation. We are trying to achieve, that, exceptionalism.
Right. Right.
And that's, is how I came up, with America,
Right.
which is, I
And you've taken the word America and given it different meanings. A
Yeah.
stands for
Aspiration.
aspirations.
Yeah.
M all the way
Yeah.
through, and that's what you're going to base your series on.
Yeah.
And how are you going to do that? You're going to have some guests come in and so forth.
Yeah, I think, we want to have some guests. Hopefully, they have some expertise, in some of these areas,
Right.
and they can, just
Certainly different
elaborate.
points of view.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. And it's so we may agree on some, and
Yeah.
we may disagree. Like, I was talking to someone, and he mentioned I have, the last A as an acceptance. Accepting America being an accepting nation.
Right.
And so his interpretation, it was different than, what I interpret.
Okay.
But it's,
But it's
fine.
something to learn.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is, the more dialogue we have, the more, the easier becomes, for us to solve, our differences.
Yeah. And you're going to have some people from around town that are known leaders
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
community
yeah,
and
yeah.
elected officials and so forth. And
Yeah.
you're going to have some friends and others who might speak
Yeah.
on different things. So I look forward to it because you're going to have probably 2 or 3 guests on each time and a change. Some of those may come back. Some of them will be different people. What a great experience to learn from others.
Yeah.
And we don't get that sometimes, especially after a year of being so confined at home and so forth, that I think this is great. And I'll say what I said at the beginning of the program. You leading this discussion can bring up things and talk about it from a different perspective than the rest of us who were very fortunate to be born here and accept all the privileges as something that should just be accepted, the right of freedom of speech and so forth. I've always thought of that as, doesn't everybody have that? No, not everybody around the world has that. And so I think we're going to learn a lot and look forward to this wonderful series called America.
Arbor of Hope.
Yeah, Harbor of Hope.
Arbor of
Arbor
Hope.
of
Yes,
Hope.
Arbor of
Okay.
Hope. And if I may, just add this last,
Yes.
sentence is, I think, collectively as Americans, the generation before me,
Yes.
I'm the first generation here, migrated here 35 years ago. I see you and you, where you were born and raised here.
Yeah.
You should be proud of, what you have, adopted.
Yes.
And you're sharing that, with people like me.
Yes.
We come, from millions of miles away, by millions, if we can, to this, arbor of hope.
Yes.
To this land of hope. It's called America. For freedom,
Yeah.
for justice. And there are, issues. I'm not saying that there are no issues, but it is, we come here because of, the opportunity. It is, it is available to us.
Yeah.
And that I'm grateful to, for that.
Well, Mike, thank you very much for doing this series. It starts this next week. We're going to have some great guests over the next
I'm
7
looking forward.
weeks,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Looking forward
Yeah,
to
I'm
it.
looking
okay?
forward to it, yeah.
And thanks for watching Watch America, only on Spokane Talks Media. Thank you.